To share is something that I've been sharing with the guys at the recovery house the past couple of weeks, and I talk about how you approach a situation, a problem, an opportunity, how you approach life. It matters. If you approach it with a negative attitude, don't expect positive results. If you approach it with a positive attitude, there's a good chance you'll experience more positive results from it. So I saw that again in scripture just the other day, and that's what I want to share with you. It's found in Numbers chapter 13 and 14. Many of you know the story. It's the Israelites. They're at the Jordan River. They're about to cross into the promised land, so they think. And God says, before you go, send out 12 spies to check the land out. So he says, and he promised them, like, this is the land I am giving you. Like, that's the promise. I'm giving it to you. But go check the land out first. Moses sends out 12 spies. They were each leaders, a leader from each tribe. And he sends them out. And they all had the same opportunity. They had the same promise from God. They were all leaders, and they all had the same external experience. Here's what they experienced. Chapter 13, verse 27. It says, the land indeed is beautiful and bountiful, and is flowing with milk and honey. Here's the kind of fruit it produces. They saw the opportunity. They saw how amazing this thing was, and they wanted it. And it says, but they also saw the challenge. It says, the people living there are powerful, and their towns are large and fortified. We even saw giants there. Again, all 12 had the same external experience. They saw the fruit, they saw the opportunity, but they also saw the problem and the challenge that lays ahead. The majority had a negative report. They went and looked out and they saw this, but they took a negative approach to it. They complained. They said it's too much, and they just wanted to give up. It says we can't go up against them. They're stronger than we are. And they spread this bad report. Negativity, it spreads. It spreads in the family. It'll spread at your workplace. Wherever you go, if you take a negative approach, a negative attitude with you, it's going to spread on to others, and they will be affected by it. And that's what happens here. It's spread throughout the camp of Israel. And he says, if we try to take this land, they will devour anyone who goes there. How you approach a situation matters. The majority approached this in a negative way. They had a negative attitude. They couldn't see past the problem or the challenge that lay ahead of them. This is extreme, but over 2 million people never entered the promised land because of it. They were deprived from it. Chapter 14, verse 28. This is the Lord talking. He says, tell them this. As surely as I live, declares the Lord, I will do the very thing I heard you say. You will all drop dead in the wilderness. If you want to complain about it and see you can't see past the challenge and the problem and live in negativity, then the Lord's got to remove his hands. There's not a whole lot he can do with it. And it's anyone in this scripture, anyone that was 20 years of age and older never entered the promised land. And if we take a negative approach to life, that's what we're going to experience. We're not going to experience the fruit that God has for us. What approach do you take when it comes to visiting your family during the holidays? What approach do you take at work, in your family? I could give 100 examples. Personally, I'll give you one. We're building a school bus conversion, and I can see the opportunity. I can see me and my family traveling down the road, going from state to state, seeing this beautiful country that God created. I can see us using it for ministry, shining the light wherever we go, telling people about Jesus. I can see all that. I can also see the challenge, and we knew that going into it, that it was going to be a challenging project. Lately, well, at least last week, I focused more on the challenge than the opportunity, and I took a negative approach. We're trying to put the subfloor down on the bus, and I bought these screws that are supposed to be no pre-drilling required, and I'm not going to call out the company, but I've had to pre-drill every single hole, and I was frustrated because we kept breaking drill bits, and I threw my drill, and I just got very frustrated, and I took a negative approach. And it's a silly example, but if I take a negative, because that's not the only challenge ahead of us. The subfloor is one of the easiest things to do on this project. We still have so much more to do, electrical and plumbing and all of it. And if I focus more on the challenge that lays ahead and approach that with a negative attitude, then it's going to spread. It's going to spread over to my wife. We're going to end up getting frustrated and quitting, selling the bus, and we'll never experience the promise that we have of going down the road and doing all the things. 2 million people didn't enter the promised land because of a negative report. If you want to see that opportunity come to pass, you have to take a positive approach. Remember, Caleb and Joshua, they had the same external experience as the majority did. They saw the fruit, they saw the opportunity, they also saw the big challenge ahead of them. But they were the only two that had a positive attitude towards it. Here's what Caleb said in verse 30. It says, "Let's go at once to take the land," he said. "We can certainly conquer it." We're not saying to avoid the problem, avoid the challenge. Like that would be foolish to do that. What we're saying here, and I think what Scripture's saying here, is you can't let the problem and the challenge weigh you down. You can't stir up negativity. That's not going to produce anything. It's going to spread. It's going to not end well for you and those around you. But if you take life with a positive approach, there's going to be challenges, but you're going to see the fruit from it, especially if the Lord has promised that to you. So I hope this helps. I hope y'all have a great day, and I'll see you soon.